Hey everybody, it's Dr. Robert Gonzalez with FG Xpress, Team Have It All. And we're going to talk about strategy and placement of your team right now and how to build with a strategy, not only for your initial people but also for ongoing with team building and creating what we call a collaboration and a synergy with people in your organization as well as with your upline. Right? So the first thing I want to tell you is if you haven't enrolled your first person, if you have not partnered with your first person yet, then you need to stop this right now. You don't need to be watching this. Right? You need to go back to the training of contacting, exposing, and then signing up. Once that happens, then you can watch this because you're going to need to learn about where you're going to place them. But right now, that's not important. Now, I'm also going to assume that you've already done your first initial training. And that training, in the welcome email, it states how to set up your holding tank. You want to make sure that you've set up your holding tank so that when you start to partner with people, that they get placed in your holding tank so that then we can use this strategy that I'm about to show you on where to place them in your team. Alright, so here's what's going to happen. You have your holding tank over here. And in your holding tank, as soon as you partner with somebody, the computer is going to place that person inside your holding tank. Right? And they're happy and smiling because they just got started with FG Xpress. Right? So if you partner with a second person, a third person, they're all going to go in your holding tank in no particular order. It's just like a swimming pool where you have your people and your team now is beginning to build. Every Monday night at 11:59, that's 1 minute before midnight, Mountain Standard Time. So know where that's at in your time zone. If you don't place these people where you want them, the computer is going to automatically take these people, here's you, and it's going to place them where the computer deems it necessary to put them in your team. Right? But you don't want that to happen. You want to strategize the placement of these individuals. Now here's how your binary system works. A binary means that you have two teams, a left team and a right team. And it's simply you placing your first person on your left, your next person on your right. Maybe you put your first two people on your left, and then you put two people on your right. It all depends on the strategy of placement of those individuals. But for these purposes, what you want to do is you want to get your people lined up to where you can actually start to create a strategy of inspiring them and motivating them to go start their business right away. So what we know is how you get paid is based on the balance of your left and right team. You're going to get paid up to 12%, and of course we'd all rather have 12% than 8%, so you want to be on the double auto ship, the 120 auto ship. You're going to get paid 12% of the smaller of the two legs. So we're playing a balancing game here, right? And when you're first getting started, that's really not that important. You just want to build your two teams. So let's say that you've got 2 or 3 people in your holding tank and now it's Monday night, or better yet, it's earlier in the week. And you say to John over here, you say, hey John, just so you know, I'm getting my business started with you. We've got 2 people as well that I'm going to place underneath you if you can go out and start your business right now and bring in your first 2 people. So let's do a sizzle call, let's do a private launch call, let's do some 3-ways, and let's get your business started. And when you bring in those 2 people, I'm going to put 2 people underneath you. And by the way, that person that you bring in, we're going to be able to tell them that we can put 2 people underneath them as well. So you see what happens, right? So John comes in, right, and you can tell John, hey, I've got 2 people I'm going to put underneath you. Well, John can go out and enroll his first 2 people. They're going into his holding tank over here. And we tell them, hey, guess what? We can put 2 people underneath you if you go out and get your first 2. Or now you can go back to your other 2 people and say, guess what? I've got another 2 people to put underneath you. And you start to see what happens here is you start looking to see who's going to go to work. You want to find out who's going to actually get excited about this and get to work immediately. And next thing you know, in your first week, you could put in 10, 15, 20 people just by using this strategy of encouraging people, saying, hey, I'm going to put people underneath you. Alright, so now you've got 15 or 20 people. Let me tell you how you use this for leverage. Now is when you want to start making some phone calls to those people who either A, said no to you already, or B, that you know are networkers that are in, maybe they're already looking for a company, they're working hard, and you can go to them and say, hey, I've got 15 or 20 people that we're putting in on Monday night. Let's get you a position, and I'm going to load up this leg for you so that you have some good volume and get started there. And you can see how you start to leverage this team, and everybody's going to get excited because a bunch of people are going to have a bunch of people underneath them. And here's what's great, is that every one of those people has to enroll someone on that side to get their business started, right? Because you have to have at least one person on each of your two legs. So all of a sudden now this leg is going to start to grow on its own, and it becomes what we call a power leg or a common leg. So it'll look like this. Now all of a sudden you bring in your first person. Monday night everybody loads up, and we've got all these people here, and of course for them to get their business going, they all have to put one person down at the bottom of this leg. So now that leg starts growing, and then of course they all start growing on the inside, and they start doing the exact same thing. Brilliant strategy, very simple and very fun. It's a great way to build fast. Now you also can strategize this with your upline. Just like you're the upline to your team and you're doing this with them, you want to check in with your sponsors and the people above you and say, hey, I've got a couple people in my holding tank. We're going to be building here. Who do you have? Can we have some strategy? If they've got people in their holding tank and they're building on that side, now remember, everybody has two sides. So they've got to be building on their other side too, because they're getting paid. And so we're all building on those two sides. But we want to start strategizing this and working this together as a team. And this is how we get very quick, fast momentum. I look forward to your success. Let's get this ball rolling. All right? You can have it all. FG Xpress all the way.